Erin Vogel. Erin, welcome to the program. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me today. It's I'm quite an honor with all the other amazing racing that's going on around the world to be here to talk to you guys today.
Erin, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for accepting our invitation for this program. I think it was very interesting to follow you in this 2020 America GT4 season. Tell us a little bit more about how your 2020 schedule was put together.
Well, I always knew I wanted to end up in SRO at some point, either as a stepping stone or as someplace to be for a while. It's a great series where they offer a lot of opportunities for up and coming drivers, and it's been really exciting to get there. It's a great series because it has so many races through the season. You get a lot of seat time. And it's been a really great opportunity to work with a team like Flying Lizard and a co-driver like Michael Cooper to just learn so much about pro racing and coming kind of from a grassroots background. It's been really a wonderful challenge and a wonderful learning experience.
Now, Erin, I know that's really exciting to hear. Definitely one of the questions, can you tell us about the racing and the McLaren that you race with?
Yeah, the McLaren's been a really fun car. It's fast. It feels light compared to some of the GT4 cars that I've driven prior to this. It's low to the ground, so it just feels like it's on rails. It's a beautiful looking car too, as you can see here in this photo. And it's been a really great car to jump into, coming from some German cars. It's been an interesting transition into this English refined vehicle, and it's the first time in a while that I've done racing manufacturer, and mostly I've done spec racing. So it's been really cool to learn about racing against cars that have very different capabilities from the car that I'm in. It's been a really competitive field. It's been a fairly large field compared to some of their past fields. So it's been really great racing. It's been a really great learning experience. I'm getting great seat time and spending a lot of time doing passing and racing with each other, which is all you can hope for in a series, is to actually have some really good competition going on. And that's definitely been the case this season so far.
This past weekend, of course, you raced in the Circuit of the Americas at COTA for the 5th round of the GT4 America Championship with 2 win classes in the Pro-Am category. That was your most consistent weekend in the series so far. Can you sum up your weekend?
Yeah, it was more consistent than some of our weekends. We struggled with pace a little bit more than we have kind of earlier in the season. We had some top 5 finishes in class, but then we've often had one race that's been very good and one that we've had some bad luck. So in terms of that, this weekend was definitely an easier weekend. We didn't have a lot of contact or anything. COTA is a great circuit to race at, and it was our second time there this season, which is not something we usually get to do, to go to a racetrack twice. But the series has done everything they could to keep us racing this season, and that was one of the compromises, was to put something in the schedule where we were supposed to be at a racetrack that couldn't really accommodate us due to that their state had. So it's been great to have a series that's been advocating so much to get back out on track as much as possible.
Very exciting. Now, I know we got a couple of questions in the chat room. One question from Don asks, which female driver has inspired you to race?
Hi, Don. Thanks for having a good question. There are so many female drivers. It's a little hard to answer that because it seems like everyone that I become aware of inspires me in one way or another. Certainly early on, Christina Nielsen was a big inspiration and influence. And I think, a lot of female drivers can say that. She was definitely out in the front doing some things in sports car racing, which made it seem like like it was possible for us other women to get there as well. Obviously the greats like Lynn St. James and Catherine Legg, have been doing great things in prototype cars. But I think to have someone like Christina at the sports car level was really important for female drivers to see that, we can all be, you don't have to be, aiming for something that seems so out of your wheelhouse. When you come from grassroots racing, you have, this other direction that you can take your racing, and there's some great opportunities there as well.
That's exciting to hear. And I know one of the big things with this series, the GT4, you race at some of the best circuits all across the United States, Circuits of America, Road America, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For the debut season for you, was there any track that stood out as like more challenging or more just that, wow, I'm racing at this circuit?
I think Indianapolis is definitely going to be that circuit. It's a cool place to end the season. We got to test there a little bit a few weeks ago, and the ambiance there with just the amount of grandstands that they have and the, very impeccable surface of the track there. They've really done an excellent job always keeping it well maintained, which can't be easy in a place as winters like Indianapolis has. So I think that's going to be the highlight for me. One of the races that was on the schedule early on that we weren't able to complete because of the what happened with COVID and the timing was the Long Beach Grand Prix. So I'm sad to miss that. I'm hopeful that maybe we'll get back there next season or at some point in my future. But I'm really excited for Indianapolis. It's a great track with really great ambiance, and we're going to be able to have fans there. So that always just kind of adds that extra level of interaction, and it makes it exciting for everyone, for the fans and for us as drivers.
I would like to ask you, of course, the championship started at COTA in March, I think, and then was put on hold for the situation that we all know. I would like to ask you, how would you rate your first season in the championship, and how did you cope with this long wait before the second round?
I would say, yeah, it's definitely been a little bit of an emotional challenge, more than I expected for a first season. It was tough to have that time off, and I think mostly the uncertainty of whether we were going to get back, and I'm sure every racer out there can sympathize with that. But it, like I said, the series has done an excellent job of putting us back out on track and filling in the gaps and making up the races that we weren't able to have in April, May, and June. So yeah, I think as far as that goes, I've gotten the seat time I wanted, and I've gotten some of those other things because of the great work that the series has done with the scheduling to make that possible. So all told, it's turned out to be a better season than it could have been otherwise because of the series hard work.
When it comes to racing, I know, especially we got a lot of fans that are being introduced to GT4 Americas through listening to you. How much work go into the setting up the cars for the race weekend? I know they look like street stock cars, but I can only imagine there's a lot of work going into preparing them for each and every track.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're probably simpler, and I haven't raced at a level beyond this yet, so I can't really speak to that. But from what I hear, obviously as you go up through GT3 or GTE in Europe and up into the prototype cars, the engineering becomes just that much more important. But it's very important still at the GT4 level, particularly when you're racing against cars that are so different from yours. You have a lot of things to consider in the chassis and in the trying to just dial everything in, and you can see that the people running at the front of the pack are doing a really great job of that. My team does a great job with it as well, but we've had a lot of little mechanical things that happen, which is just part of racing. Sometimes it comes, from coming into contact with another car on the racetrack or something. And as you can see here in this photo, they've done an excellent job of being on top of it. They're one of the teams that has the resources to always keep the car on track. But sometimes when you have those little issues, it just takes away from the time that you can be working on the setup of the car. So I think we just didn't have the time, and it's extremely crucial to be able to get through that, because every day, with the temperatures being a little different, or the barometric pressure being different, every day at the track is a little different, and you have to be constantly working on the car to keep it running well. You can't just say this is the setup and this will work for us all the time. Every track is different, every day is different, and it's a lot to stay on top of. So that's what we're hoping, now that we've got some of the other things that have been going on, where we've been struggling with some mechanical stuff. Hopefully we'll be able to come into Indy, into our last race, and just focus on the chassis and get that where we know we can do. As I said, we had some really great, being close to being on the podium, top 5 finishes in the beginning of the season. So we're just hoping that for our last race, we'll be able to pull some of that back out of the bag, because we know we have it. We just have to have the time and the opportunity to do it.
Of course, being your debut season in the championship, it was always going to be a learning process and a learning year. But I think you showed pretty amazing progresses throughout the season, and also I think in the wheel-to-wheel battles, I think you were always looking very comfortable in the battle. So I think that's showing some really good racecraft. I think that was the most important thing for the first year in such a highly competitive series. So I think that's the most important thing that you can come out of this year. Do you have already plans for next year?
Nothing solid yet. It feels early, but I know we're getting to that point where we need to make some decisions. So we're just kind of looking at some options, and hopefully we'll know in a month or so what our direction is for next year. And kind of waiting a little bit to see what the series is going to present. They may be offering some different things, some different classes to run in. So we're going to kind of see how that filters out, and then that can influence our decision a little bit.
Definitely, I know we're very excited to have you on the program. Just really thrilling to listen to everything going on.
Just a really big thank you to Flying Lizard for all the hard work they've put in on the car this season, and big thank you to my co-driver Michael Cooper for being a really great teammate and an excellent coach. I'd like to say thank you to Racers Behind the Helmet and Grill Girls for always being there and supporting us, female drivers, and drawing attention to the fact that we're out there doing what we can to be as competitive as the guys, and to Shift Up Now, who is a group here in the U.S. who is also doing a lot to promote women in motorsports. So yeah, those are the people that I think have been the biggest influence for me this season in my progress.
Once again, thank you, and we encourage everyone. We got all the links to Erin's website, social media on the video description below on our YouTube and Facebook. Encourage everyone to go follow her, as well as the GT4 Americas. Erin, thank you so much.